Recording. What's up, guys? This is Jimmy Barnett with Tech Talk, and today we have on the left Andrew Jones, on the right Bambam Lee. He told me just to leave the Lee off, but it's Bambam Lee, guys. Bambam Lee. All right, guys. So today we're gonna talk about some things that about training. It's in jiu-jitsu, military based training versus actual real train. I'm just kidding. Actual training inside of a gym, and comparatively what the differences are, what the usefulness of each, and just how they differ. Because Andrew here was in the Marines, right?
Yep, Marine Corps.
Yeah, nice. So, and I was in the Army for like half a second, so I don't count. I don't count. But Andrew does. How long did you serve?
4 years.
Nice. It was a nice little chunk of your life there, huh?
Oh yeah.
What'd you do?
Great times.
Was you like a cook, parachute packer?
I did a crash fire rescue. We responded to aircraft emergencies, helicopters, jets, all that type of stuff.
Oh, nice. Cut your phones off, guys. Rookie mistake.
That's just y'all. Mine's in my pocket.
Mine's off. I had to check, though.
You know mine stays off.
My bad, YouTube world. My bad, Facebook. My bad, anywhere else this thing might get streamed. Spotify. Shout out to all my friends that are hooking us up. So, Bam, how's training tonight?
It was good. Very good.
I want to show the world this. I'm about to switch the camera to me. I want to show the world. All right. First of all, dude on the camera, it looks like a little teal, like a green. Is that a green?
Yeah, green.
That's green. Dude in a green shirt. Look at my face.
You don't have the camera on you.
My bad. Look at my face, guys. Y'all see that? That's from training with this man. Man's a savage.
You made him mad.
Fingernails are cut. They're cut.
Yeah, honest to God, I was like, dude, cut your fingernails. He showed me his fingernails. He has none. He followed proper etiquette. Have no idea how I got scratched. Neither one of us do. It just, like, at the end of the roll, my face was all scratched, and I was like, what in the heck happened? Neither one of us know. It was a good roll, though.
Feel terrible regardless.
You shouldn't feel bad. You shouldn't feel bad.
Can't
Look, it's not going to make me any uglier.
Drug your teeth across his forehead or something.
Yeah, it's his teeth. His teeth did it. That's why I love jiu-jitsu, man.
Got to do what you got to do sometimes.
All right. So, Andrew, how long have we been training together?
I guess off and on for about 3 years now.
And my man, 3 years.
If I could stay consistent.
Yeah, it's a struggle for people, man. My last episode was about excuses.
Yeah.
And not necessarily for training specifically with us, but training period. And I know for a fact that even though you wasn't coming in here, you still been doing stuff with your friends and training when you go out of town at other places. You can't convince me otherwise.
Yeah, I've been working with a couple of guys that had some interest in jiu-jitsu. I've been teaching them some basic stuff. I should probably start looking out for schools that I can train at when I'm working out of town and everything. I was in Fort Worth, Texas, just these past couple of weeks. I'm sure there's gyms all over there.
I believe that's where Paul Haim's gym is. I may be mistaken. I know it's in Texas somewhere, but not exactly sure. But I could literally take 2 seconds, type on a computer, and somebody will tell me where a gym's at. So when you're out of town, reach out. I'll make a post. We'll get you in a gym. No, that's a no-brainer. Before I opened my school, that's actually the reason I was a white belt for 12 years.
Yeah.
Because I worked on the road, and I just pop into somebody's gym for 3 weeks to a month, and then I would go to a different place, pop into their gym for 3 weeks to a month, and then when you tell people, well, I'm a white belt, they're like, no, you're not. Well, nobody's ever gave me a blue belt, so I'm a white belt. Oh, you've been training for 12 years. You're not a white belt. Nobody ever gave me a blue belt. I'm a white belt. So.
Well, People always say you and I roll the same, so I guess it makes sense for me to wear a white belt for 12 years.
We do. We roll a lot of lock, and I really love that about us. And I've just been talking with the camera on you guys, so I'm gonna get used to it though.
We'll figure it out.
Anyway, we'll figure this out, guys. So when you walked into our school for the very first time, did you come in with a group of guys, or did you come in by yourself? How did that work?
I came in with a couple of other guys. One of the guys actually knew you, Austin Bryant. Shout out Austin. And his cousin Maverick. I remember we all came together, and then I stayed consistent once we all started. But like you said, I was in the Marine Corps, and we did a lot of grappling, but, grappling in the Marine Corps is almost like white belts teaching other white belts as far as grappling goes, but obviously grappling wasn't our first line of defense. That's not we didn't spend the majority of our time training that. In all honesty, in the Marine Corps, if you're having to grapple somebody in combat, then like shit hit the fan a long time ago. You know what I mean? Like,
For real.
But nonetheless, we did a lot of grappling, and even before the Marine Corps, like me and my buddies, we were all into UFC, so like we'd watch YouTube and we'd grapple each other in the backyard and stuff. And I knew a guy that he told me he was teaching me jiu-jitsu, but in hindsight, he was teaching me as much jiu-jitsu as anybody that watches UFC could learn. You know what I mean? So, but
Makes sense.
Regardless, that just little bit gave me enough of the edge where I was one of the better grapplers amongst my unit when we would get together and grapple. And so that kind of built my head up too. I was like catching my sergeants in arm bars and stuff like that. Terrible arm bars in hindsight. Just little things missing. Like, I was finishing triangles and arm bars and stuff like that against people that had zero jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? And then when me and Austin and Maverick got together, I'm thinking like, oh man, I'm about to go roll some guys up. Like they're gonna be ready to promote me my first day in class. And then I got here, and that was not the case at all. The Marine Corps, they kind of teach you that you're hot shit. You know what I mean? You kind of need that mindset to do that job, that you're kind of believe you're a little bit invincible. You know what I mean? But it was the same false sense of security that you get from McDojo martial arts. Like I thought I knew stuff. I knew enough that it worked on people that had no training, but it served me no justice when I came here and rolled with you for the first time.
And it's crazy. A common theme I've seen just a short time I've been here, and as long as you've trained, you've seen it. It's always friends or groups, but it's always that one that stays.
Yeah.
Like, it's never all of them.
I think we talked about that on the last podcast, was like where usually it's a group of 3, and we get one. And Drew's been the one. I think your cousin, is Goose your cousin?
Yeah, Skylar.
Yeah, Skylar. I call him Goose. It's a funny story.
Great story behind that. We'll tell the story.
I'm gonna let Drew tell that story, because we call him Goose. He's nicknamed Goose in our group chat. So, we got a Rona.
Which one of y'all gave him the name Goose?
It was kind of
a group effort, really. Okay. We're gonna let him tell that story. But I want to ask. So you kind of had this mindset that you were, like, I guess you said hot stuff.
Yeah.
So
do we not curse on the podcast?
No, we don't. I don't give a shit.
Okay.
I don't care.
Okay.
I just put that out there. Like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. But so you said hot stuff, hot shit, whatever.
Yeah.
You said that, and when you come in here, like we talked before we rolled, and before like we rolled with TJ, and before we got with our group of guys, and you was like, oh yeah, we rolled Marines, we did this, we did that. How surprised were you at what happened, and how, I'm not gonna say ineffective, but how much of a shock was it when you actually rolled with us in the gym?
It was definitely eye-opening. I really thought I was a good grappler, because like I said, we would grapple like once or twice a week, and for the most part I was submitting everybody I grappled with. I mean, it would take a big guy or, you know, a salty staff sergeant that's been doing McMap long enough that he knew some dirty tricks that would, you know, most of the people that were able to submit me back then were using muscle. You know what I mean? Like, I had this sergeant that would, like, dig his elbow in my chest to submit me. And, I mean, you know, stuff like that. He would have never been able to use that on you. You know what I mean? But, yeah, it was definitely eye-opening. Definitely eye-opening.
So we have pretty regularly comments about the use of jiu-jitsu and how ineffective it would be in the military, and how they already train jiu-jitsu, but it's a last resort, and how the way that they train is in order to kill someone. It's not in order to subdue them. That it's much more effective at actually killing than jiu-jitsu is. What would you say about that?
I guess the mindset's different. You know, the way they had us train things was full bore. There was no take care of your partner. It was like you hip toss the shit out of him, and he stands back up, and you keep doing it. You know, and but as far as effectiveness, I mean, how effectively can you choke someone after they teach you a choke, but they didn't teach you, you know, an arm drag or any way to take someone's back? They just put you on someone's back, and it's like, this is how you do a figure 4 choke. You know what I mean? And it's like,
I don't ask the hard questions.
huh?
I said I definitely don't ask the hard questions, do I? The hard questions. I put you on the spot. Like, the military sucks. I'm just kidding.
No, it's not. It's not that.
It's
a lot of it is what I said before. Is that's kind of like that's your last chance, last hope. That's like, you know, if you broke down all the training that we do, you know, the actual martial arts training is less than 10%.
I feel like in those, when y'all are training grappling, it's grappling in order to get your like service weapon or knife, or keep them from getting theirs or taking theirs from them.
Yeah, and a lot of it too is just teaching the simplest martial arts to people that, you know, somebody that's never even thrown a punch before. You know, and you like, that's literally the start of McMap is to throw a 1-2. They don't call it a 1-2. Maybe they call it a jab cross. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, you know, and it's just not the same. Like, when you're training, when you're doing martial arts, you know, maybe twice a week, 3 times a week, and the guy with the most experience has been doing it 2 to 3 times a week for about 4 years. You know, that's really just like white belts teaching white belts, and there's just a lot of micro movements and important stuff like that gets left out over time. It gets washed down. Like I said, like, I kind of knew what things looked like. I could do an armbar against somebody that had never trained, but, you know, no one ever taught me to, like, pinch my knees together in an armbar. You know, I was finishing an armbar with somebody's elbow in my groin and, like, having to bridge out and, you know, get that leverage versus, you know, pinching your knees together and your fulcrum is way up here. Just little stuff like that. Micro movements get left out. It's almost, I don't want to say it's almost like somebody trying to teach themselves on YouTube, but there needs to be, I think there needs to be more experienced instructors simply teaching martial arts.
See, got a question, like, why do y'all think, or do y'all know why they don't have someone actually in there instructing that knows what they're doing?
Well, there's guys that go to the McMap instructor course, and McMap is Marine Corps Martial Arts Program. That's what I keep saying. They'll go to like a 6-week course. Once they've gotten their black belt through their unit, they'll go to like a 6 or 8 week course where they actually get their instructor tab, and then they're instructors. And some guys will go back, you know, they'll go back to that same course and keep getting tabs, and that's their like 2nd, 3rd, 4th degree. Like, the guys that like go to the instructor's course, the ones that are like instructing the instructor course, those guys are squared away, because that's their job is martial arts all day long. You know what I mean? That's what they do, and that's the difference. That's why MMA fighters are so far beyond what the military is as far as martial arts, is because, you know, an MMA fighter is spending, you know, 5 to 8 hours a day working on martial arts or getting in shape for martial arts, versus, you know, a Marine's day to day is his job comes first, and like they might do a little bit of McMap in the morning, like I said, 2 or 3 days a week. And so, you know, some units do it more than others, but nonetheless, it's just the consistency, and the consistency of the instructors makes a big difference. But like, for the most part, your average Marine, he will definitely hold his own against somebody that has no training. But when it comes to, you know, a blue belt in jiu-jitsu is going to smash most of those guys in grappling, with the exception of like I said, the instructors of the courses that are doing it all day, every day. You know, the special forces guys, I don't know how much more training they do versus what I did. That wasn't my field, you know. But yeah, I mean, like I said, for the most part, you know, they're squared away against somebody with no training, but, you know, nowhere near the dedication of an MMA fighter that's doing it all day, every day.
So I'll say this: when you come in, I could tell that you had trained. I could tell that you had grappled. You had a good understanding of where your hips were. You had a good understanding of how your body moved. And in all honesty, it was really that you was just missing a lot of small steps. And I hate to say it this way because it sounds like I'm a hater. I'm not, because I'm an advocate, a huge advocate for more training and better training for everyone. Mm-hmm. But I think it should be by legit people, and I don't think that they should hand out belts unless it's through a legit training facility or whatever. Because you tell somebody, oh, I'm a black belt, or like a McMap.
Yeah,
McMap. Correct? Yeah. So McMap, I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a black belt. Like, oh, you're a black belt? That holds a lot of weight in our world.
Yeah.
It means you're a badass. And then you turn around and you have to teach that person how to shrimp. Yeah. Like, wait, how are you a black belt? You don't know how to shrimp. Shrimping is like the first thing you need to learn to escape. When you come in here, though, I could tell that you had training. It wasn't like we were starting from scratch. Mm-hmm. Like you could scrap. You were great at moving your hips. You were great at maneuvering your body. And then once I started showing you the small things that I do, because we're built a lot alike. Yeah. You actually gained a little weight. You're a little heavier than me now, which I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I want to get up that way. But like you really impressed me with some of the ways that you moved and stuff. But again, it was a clear level difference. Yeah. And it is mostly because of small details. And my guys will tell you at my school, the small details is what separates us from every other martial art. It's what separates us from McDojos. Is anybody can look at a UFC game and say, oh, this is how you do a rear naked choke, but then understanding like Pimp and Strong, yeah, or understanding like how you squeeze into the chest and up into the neck instead of just coming straight across the trach or whatever, cutting off the arteries, that type of thing. So once you started getting those, like we took you to a tournament like a month and a half, 2 months after you started training, and like you had 13 matches, didn't you? Or I'm not sure. It was 6 and 7, right?
Yeah, it was like 6 no gi and 7 in the gi. It was a rough day.
So, like, you won second place in one of them and third in the other, right?
Correct.
All right, just for the world out there, I'm gonna put this camera back on me. Just for the world out there, that man took first place. He got a sweet. He got the takedown. This was like 5 years ago. I'm still pissed. Still mad.
Like 3.
3 years. It's like 3 years ago. So the guy, I was just throwing a big number out there. So 10 years ago, and I'm still mad.
He's more upset about it than I am.
So, what?
More upset about it than I am.
I'm the coach. I'm allowed. So
Usually the coach or the friend is the one that's the most upset.
yeah. So I'm sitting there and I watch this match, and it's for first place. And Drew takes the guy down. Ref, 2 points.
Took him down and landed in side control.
Yeah.
Established side control.
Established. Like cleared the legs, past the guard. Like beautiful, beautiful, beautiful takedown. And see, he remembers. And then he settled. The guy swept him. The ref said 3 points. The guy did not even settle. 3 points. It was 3 points. He rolled him right back over. Nothing. Match plays out. It's like 2-3. He loses the match.
Yeah.
Like the other guy didn't even settle. He gave him points. Well, if he gave him points for a sweep, the same exact sweep that he does back to him, same exact sweep, he should have got points. Or in the very least, the other guy shouldn't have got points because he didn't settle. And he lost. And he lost. It was for first place. And it's just a jiu-jitsu tournament. Like, it's important to us, but nobody remembers that loss. Nobody remembers. It's not a big deal.
But we had this conversation before because doing the local jiu-jitsu tournaments, it's a lot of the same refs. And there's this one ref that we know him, we see him. He gives quick points. Like you just look like you're in a position. Points. Like he's very quick. Oh, you're a mount? Not quite. 4 points. Hook's not even in there yet, but yeah, you're on top of him. 4 points. Like we've seen him. We noticed it like the past 2 or 3 tournaments.
Yeah. So like, I know the guy's name because I know him.
Well, I'm
not going to throw him under the bus.
But
man, he goes points. He gave points out so fast that the scorekeeper could not keep up with the points that he was calling in a match. Like there was no 1-2 second points, like 1, 2, 3 points.
He's just throwing his hands up.
Yeah, it was like 4, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3.
His matches are easily the highest point totals.
Will's match, it was a 3-minute match, and it was like 33. It was a 3-minute match. It was like 33-29 or some junk. Like Will's match, I'm like, that has to be the highest scoring jiu-jitsu.
It's like that's like basketball scoring.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was unreal.
That's wild.
But like he would give points when somebody would transition from back to mount. It'd be like 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. And I'm like, dang, just switch back and forth. Okay, I got you. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
See, and I thought that was a thing. I thought if you just were going back from
they don't give you points anymore.
You get it one time.
You get it the initial time. You get that next position. Then once you go back between those two,
you don't get it again unless there's like a scramble in between.
Yeah, unless something else happens.
I mean, I can sit there and go neon belly
and just run the score.
Neon belly, side control, scarf, and like just go back and forth. Just do a whole around the world drill.
Yeah, just kill it.
Or just go like float and just neon belly on both sides.
Yeah.
But but just kill the game. Just run up the scoreboard.
We actually just started watching. Like when our kids and adults weren't competing, we just watched his matches.
Yeah, we when our kids weren't competing, we'd just be over there watching his match, see how high the score would go. That was our favorite thing to do.
Them and then that last one, and it was the 2 heavyweights.
Oh, that was a great match.
That was.
There was 2 heavyweights, and you could tell like they were like, what were they? Blue belts, maybe white belts. Blue.
I think they were blue.
They were blue belts, but like you could tell that they were
like the biggest in their gym.
Yeah, and it was a great match. And I just named a guy. I don't know his real name, but I just named him, and I start yelling out stuff for him to do.
It was like people that will get to know you. Like you give out nicknames. Like you gave me my nickname.
Yeah,
that's why I asked earlier about Goose, who did it, because I fear you played a part in it.
Oh yeah,
but with this guy, the heavyweight, like bulldog or pit bull or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I give him. His name was Aaron or Eric or I don't remember
You just
what they
started
were
calling him
yelling
something,
at.
though.
They just so I called him Aaron, and then I was like, "Let's go, bulldog! Let's go, get him, bulldog!" And I'm like, "Oh man, you got to swim for that under. Don't let him flatten you out. What you doing?" And I'm just coaching him. And
Didn't even know the guy.
and never met him before in my life.
Great.
We met him after it was over walking out.
Yeah, and
Was
he was like, "Who the hell was that yelling stuff at me?"
Was he listening to your coaching?
Yeah, he
That's
listened.
awesome.
It was good. He actually won one of them because those guys competed in gi and for first and second, and then they competed in no gi for first and second against one another. And I was just yelling. And then in his second match, I coached him both times, and he was listening to me and I was in the stands. Like, I wasn't right there at his match. I was just screaming at him. And he come out, I was like, "Who the hell was coaching? Who was that?" And I was like, "Oh, that was me. My bad, man. I was just having fun." He's like, "No, thank you. Thank you."
That's awesome.
So it was great. But and he was like, "What would you call him?" I was like, "Bulldog." Because that dude was jacked. He was like a 230-pound just pit bull.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And he's competing. It was at Taylor's tournament, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah. But Taylor did phenomenal. She got screwed the same way you did.
Yeah.
Girl tried to take her down. She reversed the takedown, past the legs. The girl regarded. They gave the girl advantage points
For regarding.
for regarding. Good. I mean, I'm not super mad about it, but
I think they're after us, man. I don't think they want to see our small school winning.
I don't know what it is. I think it happens all across the board evenly, but I'm glad I'm kind of glad it happens because if we were dominating just every time, or if it would, if you just went out there and got first, then you're like, "Oh, I'm great,"
Yeah.
and it don't give you anything to strive or work
I was
for.
about to say, I've never gotten first, and I just wanted that much more.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So, like, you can say, "Oh, ref did this, ref did that," but I think in the end, it just makes our school better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be any easy wins.
Yeah,
It should be clear, definite. Like, we won. If it's not clear and definite, I don't care. Oh, you gave them an advantage. Cool. Who gives a shit? Like, they should have earned it better. Should have worked harder. I should work harder. I should have coached my guy better to pass the damn foot off or whatever they needed to do to win. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I take full credit for those losses. Like, I come back and coach my guys better. I try to, and that's just where. It motivates me, so I like those. I'm mad about them though, because like I want my person to get that win.
Yeah.
But
And competition is a good place to learn where you're really at because rolling with the same guys all the time, you get used to each other's styles. You know what I mean? You kind of know what to expect from them, and then you go grapple somebody from another school and you have no idea what game they're working or how they like to grapple.
Right. And if you fuck up in competition, it sticks with you. You know, okay,
Yeah.
I messed up.
Yeah.
I know how to fix it.
last time Bambam was on,
Yeah, we already talked about
yeah.
that.
If you don't know about this story right here, go back and watch our other podcast, the one with
We talked
Taylor.
about it.
Just so you know, if you don't know, now you know.
You do a lot of talking with your hands.
No,
Finishing a darts choke.
you wave.
I guess.
Wave.
Oh,
Karate
okay.
chop.
Gotcha.
You don't wave like this. You wave like this.
Just so you know, I didn't do that. I was trying to get my hand through. Like, just go.
I see now. I can picture it now.
Yeah, see? Yeah. See,
That's great.
He gets it.
Now. That's funny.
Anyway,
Okay,
so
goes that small details.
yep, small details. So our friend Goose, how did he get his nickname?
Oh man. All right. So my cousin Goose. We're from the country, man. We live in the sticks. Like his mom, I'm sure, has never heard the word gi before. If you tried to explain to her what jiu-jitsu is, she's just like, y'all going to do that karate stuff? She's that type of.
Did she do the hand motions?
What?
I wouldn't put it past her. I wouldn't put her past a karate chop. But yeah, so Skylar had just started, and he had a loaner gi that he had used that night for gi class, and he took it home and put it in the wash machine. He tells his mom, there's a geese in the washing machine. Don't mess with it. And she says, there's a geese in the washing machine. And he just very calmly responded, yeah, it's mine. Don't touch it. A geese in the washing machine. So, yeah, that's how he got the nickname Goose.
So when he come back and he told us about the story.
Yeah, I came back and told it in class and was like, guys, I have the perfect nickname for Skylar.
Goose.
Goose.
He's a geese in the washing machine. What's the damn geese doing in the washing machine?
Great,
Yeah, I think the reaction's even better. Like, yeah, don't touch it. It's mine.
Yeah, it's mine. Don't touch it.
Just straight face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not washing machine, it's washing machine.
Washing machine, probably.
Washing machine. I'm just kidding. I don't know how they pronounce it. But, man, that's a funny story.
Yeah, that's a good one. Really good one.
Oh, man. So,
What you got?
what else you got?
Oh, so his first time on your podcast, what's the question you always ask?
Yes, always ask. I always ask this.
He asked me last time.
What is it?
Andrew,
What's up?
first of all, his nickname is Jesus.
Another nickname.
I gave him that nickname because he come in with long hair. And if you look at him, he's your typical picture Jesus.
I look a little bit like white Jesus.
Yeah, a little bit like the light brown Jesus. But
I don't know if you noticed, there's a lag with your camera.
well, did not notice. Thank you for that.
I don't know how long it's been doing it. I just noticed, though.
Yeah, well, we'll have to fix that. So, anyway, you ever been in a real fight? Anytime in your whole life, like a real fight?
It's like backyard high school fights.
Like it could be. I always use this example. It could be in preschool over a sucker. I don't care. A real fight though.
Yeah, I got in a fight. I want to say I was in like 10th grade.
Just like this is. You been in several different fights, or just this one time, or?
That's really like the one. That's like the real, like where we squared up and we fought. There's been times where like I had to jump in and have, grab a buddy's back that was getting jumped or something like that. But the only time I've actually like squared up and fought somebody was one time. It was in about 10th grade. And
All right, so tell us your most memorable fight and the best detail. Paint a picture for the world so that they can see and feel like they're there. Because I'll ask everybody that comes on here this question simply because I'm going to clip it and put it over there. And I love hearing people's stories because it's hilarious.
all right. So the reason me and this guy actually fought is probably the best part of the story. I won't throw any names in or anything.
Was it over a girl?
No. I'll tell us. All right. So I was with a girlfriend. This is like a week before I actually fought the guy. I was with a girlfriend at this like 4th of July party. And the guy, he was about my age. I think he was a grade ahead of me. Either way, his mom and dad were at this 4th of July party. It's like a big family party. It's not like some, kegger or anything like that. It was during the day by a pool and all that. And but the guy's dad was nice and toasty, drunk in the swimming pool. And at one point, he was trying to pull my girlfriend into the swimming pool by her arm, just messing around, screwing around, being a funny drunk guy. Well, I was just over there laughing at it. I didn't think anything of it. Dude's wife didn't like him flirting with a cute little 18-year-old girl. So she throws a beer can at him, hits him in the back of the head with a beer can. Well, he like whips around and looks at me all crazy. Again, I really didn't think anything about it. I was just laughing. And then a few days later, my best friend at the time messaged me and was like, hey, man, did you throw a beer can at somebody at a party recently? I was like, man, I haven't even been to any parties recently. Because in my mind, I was thinking like, like a high school party, a bunch of kids drinking, not this like family party that I went to during the day, you know what I mean? So that's my response. And then he responds like, well, so-and-so said he's coming to whoop your ass anyway. And I was like, shit, tell that motherfucker I'm at the house. And then,
That's great.
and I'm sitting there next to my brother. I tell him that, and he's like, At some point, the guy ends up sending the message, "We're on the way." Not he's on the way. He said, "We're on the way." So my brother's like, "Oh, we're on the way, huh? Let me call up some friends." So he calls up some friends. Like, by the time the guy gets there, my yard is just full of people. But, like, this guy pulls up with, like, guys that I was friends with. There was no animosity there. It was just me and him. Like, we were going to fight. And so we fight. I won.
How'd the fight? You gotta tell us the fight, man. What happened? Best of your recollection.
All right, so he gets out of the car and he walks over towards the grass where I'm at. He's got like his hands out like he's about to start talking shit. And I just hit him with a jab. Bow! A quick jab. He's like, "No, you came to my house to fight me. Time for talk is over." So I hit him with a jab, and he like kind of like awkwardly fell into me and tried to take me down. I end up on top, and I'm just at some point he ends up rolling over to his stomach. I'm just beating the shit out of the back of his head. At some point, I get, like, my arms get tired because I'm just beating on the back of his head. And I stand up, and I kneed him a couple of times. And then, like, you know, you get that reaction from high school students that, "Oh!" And then, like, next thing I know, my best friend comes and, like, drags me off of him. And he's like, "Dude, I thought you were about to kill him." And by the way, this guy tells anybody that'll listen to him that it was a tie. It was not a tie. I don't think he landed a single punch. Like,
You still know him?
Yeah, I know him. We're cool now. I hear he's doing good. I ran into him not long ago, but
had a tie.
There's no animosity there other than he tells people it was a tie. It wasn't a tie. Nobody there will tell you it was a tie. But
so afterwards,
yeah, it wasn't until like it was some time later that I started putting all the pieces together, and he was like, "Oh, his dad thought I threw that beer can at him. His mom threw the beer can." So essentially, we got into a fight because his mom threw a beer can at his dad. His dad thought it was me. That's the funny part of the story.
That's great.
Yeah.
Let me see if this camera's working. Nope.
Oh yeah, but with that, I really never had to fight anyone else in high school. My dad always taught me this. He always taught me, like, if you have to fight somebody, you make an example out of them, and that way nobody else wants to fight you. And I can literally remember hearing my dad. I can hear that, like, playing in my head while I'm sitting on his back, and I'm getting tired, and I'm like, "Fuck this has got to end now." And I stood up and I kneed him that couple of times, and that, like, high school students aren't used to fight or seeing fights like that. You know what I mean? So often you see high school kids fighting, like, they go to the ground and everybody will, like, stand them back up. You know what I mean? Like, no. But yeah.
That's great.
I mean, that's pretty much it. And I feel like, you know, like, people talk like I was a badass after that, and I wasn't. But, you know, I was gonna let them believe I was. Like,
yeah, you don't have to. You done put your stake in the ground or whatever, and said, "Hey, I'll stand up for myself."
Yeah.
Once you do that, a lot of people was like, "Oh, I'm actually gonna have to fight this dude if I mess with him."
Yeah, and like he's gonna let people realize, like, okay, he's not afraid to try to hurt me. You know what I mean? Like.
Nice.
And I always told people too, like, because you'd see a lot of people, like, get in fights, and, like, you know, one guy would, like, as soon as he starts losing the fight, he's like, I'm done, I'm good. It's like, nah, motherfucker, you brought me to this dirt road. I'm gonna fuck you up. Like, like, I'm not stopping just because you decided you're done. You wanted to come here and hurt me. Like, I don't know. That's just kind of how my dad taught me. You know what I mean? He was like, you hurt somebody before you let them hurt you. Like, if you're in a fight, y'all ain't playing. You fucking hurt them. I don't care if you got to pick up a brick, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That's my childhood.
Bam Bam got punched by his best friend that was trying to punch someone else.
That was between us. It was at a bar and a lot of alcohol involved. Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, it was great.
So I actually done a podcast. It was the very first time I ever used this setup, and my mic was turned way too low, and I talked about not my most memorable fight, but one of the funniest and the craziest fights that I've ever been in. It was with Jay and Corey when we would come up here just testing it out. I hadn't ever actually told my fight story on like live or whatever, so that'll be a good podcast in itself.
And that's the story you're gonna go with?
Red Truck. You ever heard Red Truck?
Outside of the gas station?
The gas station one?
Yeah.
I don't think I know
That one. Actually, I've heard a few.
The military. My ink pen.
The ink pen is a good one.
I actually just kind of remembered a second, like, sort of altercation I had. You can't really call it a fight. I was stationed in San Diego at the time. I was on the beach, and a real drunk, I can't even remember what he got mad at me about. Like, I think he just didn't like my face, and as he sat there and drank, he decided he had to come and tell me. But I can't remember what he was like. I can't remember what started the altercation, but he basically, like, he swung a beer bottle at me, and with no head movement, no nothing. He was just so drunk, he missed me. And, like,
no head movement.
Yeah, you know, he missed me, and he missed me so bad that, like threw him off balance. So he's like over here, and I just hit him with a real quick, like, Taekwondo kick with my lead leg, just pop, and it just, like, sat him on his butt, and he got big-eyed, and I think just me throwing a kick, he was like, I don't want to mess with this guy.
Kind of sobered him up real quick.
Yeah,
Hey,
like,
didn't you take Taekwondo?
yeah,
Or was it Tang Sudo or Taekwondo?
I took Taekwondo. I won a world championship back in the day.
Nice, me too. My man.
I haven't.
Oh, well, man, you got to get your game up. You got to get on the board with
Yeah, man, I was really good at tag with my feet.
Yeah, tag. That's exactly what it is.
That's awesome.
That's exactly
I've
what
never
it is.
heard of that. I like
I
that.
could tag you so fast with the bottom of my foot, bro.
There won't be any power in it, but we can touch you with our feet.
But you're it.
Yeah.
Just know you're it.
You're it.
No, I actually, you know, it was ATA Taekwondo, just like you, but
I did ATA and UTA. I did American Taekwondo Association with Kim Lunt, and I did a UTA with Kevin.
And what's UTA stand for?
United Taekwondo Association.
I actually did
It's more full contact.
I did Taekwondo under a man named Mike Sips, and he was actually in law enforcement. So, you know, he had a real true understanding of what it's like to fight somebody, you know what I mean? And he taught us the Taekwondo, and he taught us how to win competition and all that, but he also taught us, like, real self-defense. I mean,
Nice.
yeah, like things that he learned being in law enforcement and stuff like that, and just, like, the difference in the mindset in real self-defense and, like, you know, competition, Taekwondo. You know, his thing was, if you can, run, you know what I mean? Before, like, if your life's in danger.
Real life lessons type stuff.
Yeah,
that's my favorite type of people, man.
Yeah.
Like, I try to incorporate that into our jiu-jitsu here.
Yeah.
And honestly, the guy that I trained UTA with, you don't really hear me talk about him a whole lot. He's still around, but he's not doing that anymore. But he didn't have a good it's not a bad guy or nothing like that, but like, he didn't do the whole life lesson and, like, run the, you know, if you're trying to create space to get to the door.
Yeah.
He didn't do all that. It was like, oh, you hurt him.
Yeah.
It's like it's like you hurt him. And I didn't stick with him very long, but I did compete under him because it had a better rule set for what I was trying to do. I wanted to get into real kickboxing. And you go from playing tag, pretty much, like just being able to touch somebody. I was great at that. But then when you start putting power behind it and start landing these hard kicks and getting kicked hard, it's different, man. It's a different world.
And that was one thing, him having that real world understanding. He did teach us how to throw with power and not just, you know, real quick tagging kicks for competition. We would have, like, if there was a competition coming up, we would adjust fire, and our training would be different. Like, if we weren't training specifically for a competition in class when we sparred, we would punch to the head and stuff like that until, you know, a few weeks out from competition, we would stop doing that so that, you know,
you don't accidentally do it.
Yeah, don't go in there and start throwing jabs in competition when it's not allowed. But, yeah, I feel like it was a great foundation for martial arts.
It was a wake-up call for me when it was a wake-up call when I went from traditional, because ATA was my first.
Mm-hmm.
It was first until she brought in a keto guy. Like, we had another guy that, like, did Aikido and stuff. Mm-hmm. And, like, so I was training at one with one and then one with her. But that was my only other art. But it wasn't battle tested. It was like, it's like tag. And then I did where full contact, where you go from touching the body, like point, and then you stop, you bow, chuck, and then you start again. Well, until somebody else gets a point, and then they stop and stop the action. Real life isn't like that. Real life, you punch somebody, they punch you back. There's nobody stopping you. There's nobody whatever. And in point karate, point taekwondo, it's from the neck to the body is 1 point for a punch. It's 1 point for a kick. You can't kick the legs at all. No. And then like in the head, the side of the head is 2 points. The top of the head is 3 points. And we're like kicking the crap out of each other in the head, but they don't want you punching each other in the head.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense, but
like I Josh White, good friend of mine, he still lives in Douglas. Like I seen him knock so many people out with hook kicks. His jump, it's a spinning hook kick. Like I seen him sleep people at tournaments with that kick, but we're not allowed to punch each other in the face. Like, and he done it. He done it one time. He done it at Worlds. He actually won Worlds, but he lost Worlds to a guy. But he jumped, spinning hook kicked, and knocked out 2 people right before he fought this guy without a break. And then lost Worlds to like a punch to the body to that. But he knocked people out, punch to the body. Like it's just silly to me.
Yeah.
And like it was silly to me to watch that play out. And then when I realized, like, oh, this is a little silly, like that's what opened my eyes a little bit. Like, this is silly. Like, Josh just kicked this dude out of bounds in the face, and then he lost because somebody touched his stomach with their hand. So I was like, I want to go do something. I want to do something a little more. So I started trying to actually kickbox, and I boxed for the fire department a little bit. Dude, I got the shit beat out of me trying to box. And it's because I've been using my feet. And that it's just crazy to me how different from using your feet and the range and the distance is to just using your hands to actually kickboxing. The distance for all 3 of those is way different. Yeah. The stance, the style, the rules dictate how people are standing and moving. A friend of mine is a American karate black belt, and he teaches. And he'll spar like this.
Completely sideways.
Completely, and he puts his hand way up here because he can do this and get points. I watched a match, and I was like, dude, like in a real fight, you would get beat up. And he's like, nah, man. Nah, I'm too fast. I'm too quick. Like I win all my tournaments. I ain't ever lost.
My ninja.
And I was like, all right. But it's just crazy to me, like, and people buy into this.
It's that false sense of security that you get from so many martial arts. That, I mean, I was the same way.
Me too.
With my Taekwondo, like I thought I was good. You know, I thought I was squared away. I could kick you in the head so fast. You know what I mean? But you know, it was like even coming in here when I still like, you know, I thought that I had expanded beyond just being able to throw kicks real well, and then you just like boxed my ears off, and then that was like boxing has like stayed my focus since then. I do so much shadow boxing, and I just lately have gotten to where like I got to start throwing some kicks again because I'm only using my hands.
Nice. It's crazy. Like there's just so many levels and so much that you can do to get better.
Well, then there's the energy of throwing kicks too. Like when you're sparring somebody and you're trying to, you know, keep your energy. Like I don't know, just
your breathing, how you're moving your hips, how fast they're moving their feet. Are you hitting this hitch up step just right? Are you cutting a corner with your dart punches? Like, are you getting your head off the center line? There's so much to think about, and people are like, oh, jiu-jitsu is, oh, I know how to strike. I just need to learn jiu-jitsu. And then you got people that do jiu-jitsu And they're like, oh, well, striking, you just throw these punches here and you move. Like, there's so much.
There's subtlety
to all of it.
Yeah.
All of it. Like, just getting your foot to the outside. Just step into the outside. Beating them on that first step. Like, if you start doing that changes the whole game of striking.
Yeah.
And trying to split their stance or cut the corners. Like, there's so much to all of it. And when you're ignorant, that's the best word, to these subtle movements and these subtle things and these feints and these things that you're doing to draw out reactions to set up your next move, and it's thought out. It's not just trying to hit each other. It's trying to draw out certain reactions to get ahead of that person to beat them up.
Yeah.
And when you get into a martial art and you think you got the game figured out, and then they throw another tool in there, like, oh, now this guy can blast W.
Yep.
Like, wait. What do you mean he can blast double me? Like, no. We're supposed to. It's a handshake. You're not allowed to grab me, bro. I'm only supposed to punch and kick at you. You're supposed to punch and kick at me. Like, what is all this grabbing? What is all this grabbling?
Yeah.
Cuddle time.
Yeah, cuddle time. It's called grabbling, right? All this grabbling. What are you doing all this grabbling on me? And like, nah, man, it's a fight. I could grab you all I want to.
And people don't realize how much changing one single rule will change the entire I don't want to say sport, because when you change rules, it's like you're in a completely different sport now.
2 words.
Like
headbutts.
Yes. Have you been watching the Lethwei stuff?
No.
Oh man. So Lethwei comes from Myanmar.
Yeah.
That's like right north of Thailand. They call it the art of 9 limbs. It's essentially
Headbutts to not limb.
yeah. It looks a lot like Muay Thai, but a lot of Lethwei guys will get upset when you compare it to Muay Thai because the rule set's so different. But yeah, it's their style, their flow, and their kind of rock. It looks a lot like Muay Thai, but they can throw headbutts, and then they can also pick each other up and like pile drive each other's heads into the mat,
Spike them and stuff.
Yeah. You know, they'll do this thing where they'll go belly to belly, but then they go straight back like a suplex.
Oh yeah, that's what wrestling is, bro.
Playing each other on their head. But also the only way you can win a match is by knockout. And
you have to knock the person out.
You have to knock them out, or
the other
draw.
person.
Listen to this. All right, so let's say
I need to watch this.
You do.
I want to. It sounds familiar. They had a special on Netflix.
Let's say me and Cobb are in a Lethwei match.
Left way.
Lethwei.
Lethwei. Oh, okay.
They also call it Burmese boxing or Burmese bare knuckle boxing.
Oh, okay. That I've heard of that. I haven't heard of Lethwei.
Yeah, Lethwei.
Burmese boxing. Yeah.
Lethwei or Letwei, I'm not entirely sure.
How they pronounce it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right, so let's just say me and Cobb are in a Letwei match, and he knocks me out. You're in my corner. You have a certain amount of time to get me revived and put me back in the fight. Let's say after he knocked me out and you revived me, I make it to the last bell. That fight's a draw.
It's
I don't like
crazy.
that. I don't like that.
That's pretty wild.
Like, let's get a concussion.
So, have you been watching that, or did you see that? I think I saw a special on Netflix with Frank Grillo, where he, I think that's Grillo.
I think he did go there. Yeah, Frank.
He
Grillo.
did
I think he did
there's like
go
6
there.
episodes, and that was one of them.
I think that was one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd heard about it a little before I saw that. I've been following this fighter on Instagram. He used to be with Tiger Muay Thai, and that's how I discovered him, was by following them on Instagram.
Yeah, because that's who I was supposed to go to Thailand, and I got an extended invitation to just come train with him.
Nice.
Tiger Muay Thai, Masin Corbray is out of Savannah, Champions Training Center, and that's one of his places that he trains, and I trained at, and then I think Alan Belcher went out there, and they were supposed to do like a tribe trip, and I was invited to train there anyway, but I just hadn't had a chance to go to Thailand.
Yeah, I would love to go to Thailand.
I would too. I would love to do that. I would actually like to go train at that facility. Simply, I've never been there. Haven't ever trained there. I know Massin was talking about it one time, and someone from there come to Massin's and Manu's over there in Atlanta, and they were like, yeah, you should come. But I just never ever went.
Can we pause? I gotta go to the bathroom.
No, go ahead. We'll talk while you go.
Y'all keep it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we was talking about headbutts, and that's what got us on the
Yeah, and like I was saying, where I saw it, I actually seen a special. It's a guy's name's Frank Grillo. You saw him. I think that's his name. I'm real sure. He's been in a couple movies, Warrior with Tom Hardy. And
oh yeah, I love that movie, man.
So
even though it's kind of not realistic.
I know, but
I love the movie.
But
yeah.
the coach of the other brother, not Tom Hardy, but the other brother.
Yeah.
That coach. That's the guy I'm talking about.
Okay.
And he's in the TV show Kingdom, which is also really good. You need to check that out if you hadn't.
Kingdom.
It's he owns an MMA gym.
Oh, cool.
It's cool. It's really cool. Anyway, he did a Netflix.
I don't watch a lot of TV.
I know.
I hadn't even watched an MMA fight in probably a year.
Well, you're going to change that. We'll do Fight Companion.
Yeah, we're going to do Fight Companion 11th.
If you got Netflix, check that out.
I do.
It's like 6 to 8 episodes, just like a limited miniseries or something. And he looks at different sports, and that's one of them. He does boxing in Mexico. He hits a sport in different countries, like a full contact sport.
That's crazy. I'm going to check this camera right now and see if it's still lagging.
That's bad.
That's done.
Yeah.
I unplugged it and plugged it back in a minute ago.
It froze.
And it froze.
Yeah.
That's only the second time that camera's ever done that, so I'll just have to figure it out.
Well, at least we called it halfway in.
Yeah, and I actually don't think it was lagging that much before we called it. But if it did, I'll just when we do the video and it goes to that one, I'll just use one of the other cameras. It'll be fine.
Yeah. But another one, without doing any names, I remember another talking about thought stories, which you got a few. Ink Pen, Red Truck, both those. But then the one where you with some of your friends and he thought the neighbor had gotten in a fight with him. You remember?
I don't even know which one you're talking about.
It was like you, your buddy, and then a friend of your buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
That's probably, yeah.
Reminded you.
Yeah, dude, I forgot all about that.
Yeah. But
I actually want to tell that story now because that's just funny.
Well, I was about to say, I know the thought story that I told last time I was on your podcast. I thought of another one while he was talking. I don't have details though because I was a little kid. It was elementary school. But there's like 4 of us that grew up neighbors, and 2 of them were brothers. And being kids, you get a little scraps and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I always remember if I got in a fight one of them, I had to fight the other one too. Like it didn't matter what it was. The brother knew his brother was wrong, but if you got in a fight with one, you had to fight the other.
You had to fight others. That's family, bro.
Yeah, my dad used to tell me all the time. Like he drove a truck, he'd come home, late in the evening. He sees us in the backyard. I get one off my back, the other one jump on me. He had to go out there and break us up. Send them home.
That's great. So what we were talking about is a fight that I got into, and it was so bad that my friend told his friend, the one that I fought, that the neighbor did it.
And like
that the neighbor,
you've seen him, and like to this day, he still thinks.
Yeah, he still thinks that the neighbor beat him, or that he beat the neighbor up. Both his eyes were shut.
Oh wow!
And we had him convinced that he whooped my neighbor's tail.
He took a few licks in the process.
Yeah.
So if he watches your podcast, it's gonna come out now.
Yeah, it'll come out. It'll come out. But it don't matter because I don't hang out with those hoodlums anymore. I'm not hoodlums there. I just don't hang out with that group anymore. Very much. But so we were talking about headbutts, how changing the rules and just one little rule changes the entire game. Like they just introduced like the kneeing on the ground thing in the face, right? But where you got to have both hands.
Yeah.
Instead of just one.
I'm not entirely sure how that rule.
Yeah, so
they've messed with it so many times before, and it was confusing.
And it depends.
As it was.
It depends on where the sanctioning is now. I think
different states. Yeah.
But John McCarthy, he released like, no, this isn't a downed opponent.
Yeah. Well, you had
This is a
those
down
fighters
opponent.
that would take advantage of it. They'd be against the cage and be on their feet,
Yeah.
and they would just reach down and touch the ground.
to stop people from kneeing them.
Yeah.
And they was like, oh, it's cheating. So now you have to have both hands to be considered down. You have to have
Well, okay, something like that, though.
four things.
Something like that. Would you actually call it cheating, or just that's the rule set? Like you're using it to your advantage?
Yeah.
I think it's cheating. I'm one of those. I'm a true fighter.
Yeah.
You know, some people might disagree with that, but I'm a true fighter.
Yeah,
I'm just
I wouldn't call it cheating, but it's not something I would do because it's not something you can get away with in a real fight.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like,
I think
you put your hands
so
on the ground on the
I
street,
think-
and they're like,
Okay, but so if you're not on the street, yeah, it don't matter. They're still going to throw knees. But like, if you're training a professional fighter and you're in a cage and you know he's fucking me up with knees, I can just do this, and he can't do that no more.
yeah.
I mean, are you going to do that?
No.
Like, just because that's your payday. Like, if you win, you get more money. So I'm just going to touch
No.
the ground that way I don't
No.
get kneed.
Well, I've seen instances where guys
see the point.
Right.
I've seen where guys have put their hands on the mat, to save themselves from getting kneed.
And the other guy picks him up
The guy
and
gets
knees
double
him.
underhooks, picks his hands up off the ground and throws the knee. And
That's not cheating. to me.
he's relying on his hands on the mat instead of covering his face. You know what I mean? Dude just lifting him up, and he's like fighting to get his hands back on the mat
Instead of focusing on-
instead
yeah.
of blocking the knees
I tell you,
coming out his dome.
It's at this moment that I wish my camera right in my face was working because, all right, here's the thing. Like you heard the saying, winning is winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like MMA is one of the most purest forms of competition in the world.
Yeah.
And like I like the fact that people are at same weight classes and there's just different body types.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to see a 140-pound guy fight a 200-pound guy because like to me that I don't think that would be
Unless the little guy wins, then it's awesome.
even then I don't like seeing that, not because of the little guys having to overcome a lot of odds or whatever,
Yeah,
but weight fucking matters.
it does.
That's the rules I like. Let's match two guys up that are pretty evenly built and see who's a better fighter. Let's see who's tougher. Let's see who can take more damage and give damage.
Yeah.
Like, let's do that. That's great. It's the purest form of combat right now in my mind. And when you do something like, oh, well, I'm not gonna get hit if I touch if I just touch the floor.
Right.
If I do this, I'm not gonna get hit.
You're not.
So now you're not competing anymore.
Yeah.
It's not pure anymore.
See, and I agree with you there. Like, it's the only place is you and one other person. Like, you can't depend on a team or none. Now, you had your fight camp, your coaches, they got you ready, but you're in a cage or ring.
It's just you and them.
It's you and them. Like,
And I'm saying this right now on this podcast, and if I was getting the crap beat out of me and there was absolutely no way out of it, and I was like, man, if I touch the earth, this guy's he's gonna stop hitting me. I'm not saying that in a moment of not thinking clearly or in a moment of getting the shit beat out of me that I wouldn't do it. Does that make sense?
yeah.
But thinking clearly and knowing me and knowing I wouldn't do that intentionally so he couldn't knee me.
Yeah.
I would do other things.
I was about to say, knowing you personally, like, I could see that. I believe that. Like yeah.
I would not allow my glory to be for somebody to go, oh, well, he wouldn't have won that fight if he hadn't have used the rules to his advantage.
So do you think
Does that make sense?
it does? So talking about that rule, it got me thinking of another one. And I used to love it because I just thought it was funny as hell. Do you think, and I'll point out specifically what I'm talking about, but there are some things in MMA that could be considered dirty tactics?
John Jones shin kick to the knee.
Well, specifically what I was talking about, I used to love it. Chris Lieben did it. Well, he did the foot stomp against the cage. Well,
Yeah, I don't see a problem with it.
I don't either. I know the announcers, like, some of them, they were like on the fence. Some of them said, some would consider that dirty.
That's not dirty.
I thought it was funny as hell, honestly.
Dude,
Just
it
watching
hurts. You ever had your foot stomped?
Yes.
Dude, my dad used to take me and he would stomp on my foot hard as crap so I couldn't get away and just punch me as hard as he could in the chest. You ever had somebody stomp on your foot and you try to pull your foot away and it won't come out from under their foot? Mm-hmm. Dude, somebody stomp on your foot and just punch you in your chest. Like, all your air leaves you and you still can't get away. It's rough, bro.
You imagine being trapped against the cage holding their weight, and every time you plant your foot,
they stomp
it.
It hurts. And could you imagine trying to walk on those feet and then kick? You ever had somebody knee pound on your foot by accident in here?
Yes.
It hurts for weeks.
I have my toenail bent backwards in here, someone knee pounding on it.
It hurt for weeks, and people don't understand that. That's why in my MMA class, I would grab that kick shield, and I say, hold this, don't let it move. And then I would bump them in their leg soft, but it's like a Charlie horse. Yeah. And then I would kick the bag out of their hands and say, I could have hit you like that. How many of those do you think you could take? And 95% of people was like, one.
I don't even want to take one.
Right. No, I that's my point. Yeah. And these guys are in there lighting each other up. They are kicking each other with all the power, all the stuff. And it sucks, dude. Like, it sucks to be getting banged on like that. Like, and these guys are taking it and then going back. That's why I get so mad when somebody calls a fighter in the UFC a bum. Mm-hmm. Like, when Robbie Lawler started getting beat, and then when guys started getting beat, I'm not a Robbie Lawler fan, by the way. Like, yeah. I think he had some amazing fights and stuff, but I feel like he was a brawler.
He was involved in like that one fight of the year.
Yeah, but he's a tough, it's a tough ass dude, and he's a brawler. It wasn't until recently he started putting his striking together like a real striker.
Yeah.
And I'm not speaking from authority of any kind in that way. That man's done more with his life than I have with mine. But I like to see the technical. I like to see the fighters that are gritty and mean and that'll get in your face with technique.
Yeah.
I hate seeing guys go out there and go for broke, and then you hear all the country boys just like, oh, I just use that term general, not necessarily just country boys, but calling them the good old boys or whatever you want to call them.
They have never trained.
That's never trained, talking about, yeah, he just put them things on, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And you're like, nah.
I like seeing them go for broke at a certain point. Like, they know they're losing or they're behind. They got to make something happen.
Yeah.
Then they go for broke.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
There is something awesome about seeing somebody really dig deep and pull out a fight after they've been losing.
But Clay Guida.
He's hard not to like.
I love that dude.
Yeah.
I like technical fighters. Like, if I've got a power puncher versus a very technical guy, I'm always going to pick the technical guy to win.
Me too. George St. Pierre, call him what you want. Some people call him whatever. That is one of my favorite fighters of all time.
Oh, yeah, he's amazing.
Because he beats you at your game, and he finds your weakness, and then he exploits it. You know, and he is a true. I think he was the very first true martial artist.
He's one of
complete.
He's one of the best wrestlers in the sport, and never wrestled. You know what I mean? He never wrestled in high school, never wrestled in college.
And I don't even think he's the best wrestler. So that's the problem.
For MMA, he's the
mixing
best. Yeah, he's the best MMA wrestler.
Yeah, he is the best at mixing it. Yeah. And that's why I love him so much. Is he's the best. Like, he takes this one technique and he says, how does it work with my body? How do I use it? Mm-hmm. And then he puts it together. And I think that is where it's at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I really, really, really enjoy watching him fight. And some people are like, oh, lay in press. Like, dude, do you know how hard it is
to hold someone
down? And then, like, the Nick Diaz fight. George St. Pierre was on top of him. Nick Diaz is a friggin' black belt. Yeah. And he trains to submit people from his back, from his side. He trains to get up. He trains to box. He trains to get back to his feet to box. Mm-hmm. And he couldn't. Yeah. And people are like, oh, he just held him down. Like, I would pay money to see one of you folks. Excuse my language. I would pay money to see one of you guys hold Nick Diaz down.
I thought you said language didn't matter.
It don't. But that was like in a negative manner.
How much money would you pay to see one of those guys get out from underneath GSP?
Same. Dude, I want to see that. Yeah. I think they should start a reality show and just pick the guys that are most verbal fans about this or this or this and say, okay, we're gonna give you $10,000 if you can hold Nick Diaz down.
Do it kind of like bully beat down.
I was about to say that.
Yeah,
Billy
with
beat down.
Miller Mayo. Yeah,
They have like a grappling match first, and then a kickboxing round. After
yeah,
that.
but I think it just be grappling, and like if you can hold him down, if you could just stop this guy from getting back to his feet.
If you can get out from under him.
Yeah, or if you could get out from under George St. Pierre, and then the next round is like if you can just hold Nick Diaz down.
Yeah.
And not just those two. Just pick any professional MMA fighter that's in this person's weight class.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then tell this person like, oh, if you hold him down, I'm gonna give you 10 grand. Do you know how many people would actually be able to do that?
Not many.
Like, dude, I weigh 140 pounds, and there's not very many people that's gonna hold me down, and I me not be able to get up. And it sounds arrogant and cocky. It's not me. It's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And Nick Diaz has a black belt, and George St. Pierre held him down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, but that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. You change one thing in the rules, like headbutts. Do you know how many rear naked chokes would not have been finished if that person could just slam their head into the bridge of their nose?
Yeah.
In their face? And you would stop seeing people in the UFC grab these chokes like this. Because they would be hiding their dang head behind theirs or pushing their head into theirs. And like the correct way, the way it's actually taught.
The way you teach it.
Yeah, to stop people from headbutting you in the damn face.
And even
because a person in the street, they're not playing by any rules. They're gonna headbutt you. They're gonna knock your teeth out with the back of their head.
Yeah, and I know in class, especially live rolls, whenever I get a choke, I try to be conscious enough to duck my head down.
Even in our gym when we're trying to protect each other, that's how I believe. I may be mistaken, but I think that's how Troy broke his nose. He got on Corey's back, and Corey was trying to get out and like slammed his head into his nose.
He did a thing where he was stretching his head back.
And headbutted him right on the bridge of his nose.
Trying to bridge out.
Yeah.
I had to set his nose. I don't know exactly what happened because I didn't see it, but I think that's what happened. I didn't see it, so y'all can't hold me. Don't hold me to that. But I know I set Troy's nose because his nose was like, yeah.
I'm sure you'll have one or both of them on the.
They can talk about it. Yeah. Because his nose was like, yeah. And I had to straighten it, like pull it, and then I had to like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've ever thought about training, do not let this change your mind.
Yeah.
Accidents happen.
Accidents happen, and it don't happen that often.
It doesn't.
Oh, you know something cool I gained through jiu-jitsu? That's an interesting little topic, I think. When you get into a fight in a dream, do your punches not work? That's both of you, right? Your punches don't work. I actually read something about it. There's some reason why your punches don't work in your dream. And it's the same reason why you tend not to be able to run
in your dream.
You try to run and your legs turn all to jello. Well, a really interesting thing is ever since I started training jiu-jitsu, I'll get in a fight in my dream, like my punches won't work, and I'll just shoot a double and like choke out whoever I'm fighting.
I was about to say, like, I don't even punch in my dreams. I just go straight to the ground with them.
Like for some reason, my jiu-jitsu tends to work in my dreams.
If only it did that easy and real off against the people you train with.
I actually just like last week, I was staying out of town, working in Texas, out of town, and the guy I was sharing a room with, his alarm went off. And like I remember I was dreaming of fighting somebody, and I had him in like side control, and I was dropping elbows on him. And like when his alarm went off and woke me up, I woke up, I'd actually dropped an elbow on the bed.
It was probably after I've been training a couple years. I put it in our group chat or came to the gym. I said, guys, I think I have a problem. I woke up and I had my pillow in a choke.
He was choking his pillow.
I had my pillow in a chokehold. I'm like, I'm glad I don't have a girlfriend right now. I might be catching a charge.
That's good stuff.
Like, I woke up choking the pillow.
I shrimped in the bed, and I still do this. When I roll over, when I change sides, I shrimp to roll to the other side.
Have you ever shrimped out of the bed?
I have. That's what I was going to say. I shoved Taylor out of the bed with a shrimp to roll over.
That's good stuff.
And she was mad. And then I kicked her. I kicked her one day, like I put my foot on her, and then like she moved or something, and then I kicked her in her thigh, like from the back. She had her back to me, and I just kicked the shit out of her, and she woke me up mad, and I had no idea what happened. Dude, she had it looked like I beat her. She had a bruise across her butt cheek onto her thigh where I had hit my shin across her butt. And she looked at me like, you was awake. Like there's no way you did that and you were asleep.
I can imagine, man.
Muscle
when
memory.
You just like, you'll just come up behind me and just like touch my leg with your shin in that right spot, and it's like like it doesn't quite hurt when you just come up and touch it, but you're like when you feel it, you're like, God, that would suck.
Yeah. And I kicked her.
Yeah,
like,
I can imagine.
Like in the sleep, just whop. She was so mad. She woke me up and I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. You're half asleep. I was like, what's wrong,
no,
baby?
I wasn't half asleep. She woke me up and I was like, why are you mad?
Yeah.
She's like, you just kicked me. And I'm like, no, I was asleep. I didn't kick you. She's like, yeah, you did. And her butt and her legs like already like welting up or whatever. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Like it never happened before.
Yeah, man.
Like, what did you do to me while I was sleeping? This is your fault. And it wasn't her fault. I was just asleep.
Don't startle me.
The shin conditioning makes a huge difference too, because like your shins and like Chase's shins, like Chase particularly, like the way he's built.
Chase Rowden, people.
Yeah, Chase Rowden, Chase Rowden.
He's mean.
Yeah, like I think part of it's his build and the conditioning, like all his like elbows and knees and shins, everything's so sharp. It's like he's designed to fucking hurt you. But yeah, like
Chase would take me and be like, you want to go? And he would just kick shin to shin on me on purpose.
I checked.
And I'm just like, all right, we're good, man. Like, you got it.
You
like,
got to get him on a podcast.
Oh, he's coming.
I checked one of his leg kicks one time. I was like, shit, that was worse than the leg kick.
I'm just going to let you kick me.
Like, just kick me next time.
Yeah.
Like, I know 2 stories. I'm sure y'all have tons. It was him, wasn't it? Like, one of y'all kicked the other one out the cage. The cage wasn't locked, the door.
Oh, yeah. Tried to catch the door. Yeah.
And then there was another one. The story, it tickled me. He's talking about he had a choke. And he's like, I was in opposition, and I just know I need to cut that vein off right there. And he said, I just stuck
his foot in there. his knee. He had a guy. He was trying to finish the doors. And he invented a move because he's trying to finish the doors, and he's just having trouble.
He sees the karate.
Yeah, and he's like, and he goes, he's sitting there, and
exact words, I need to cut that fucking vein off.
And he's like this. He's like looking around. He said, I just looked around, and I was like, okay, if I move, I'm gonna lose position, but I need to cut that fucking vein off right there. So he just takes his legs. Chase is 6'2", and he just takes his knee and he sticks it inside there, and then like he's like putting this person to sleep. And they're like, what did you do? He's like, cut that vein off. That's what I did. You don't worry about what I did. And then he done it like 3 or 4 more times. And then he come over here and he's like, check this out. Look what I invented. And then he did it to me.
That's funny.
But the craziest story with Chase, I'm definitely going to have Chase on the podcast. He's already said he would get on here.
I got a good Chase story too when you're done.
Dude, Chase... we're ragging on Chase Rowden. This one's for you, boy.
You just show him this before y'all do
yes. So let me tell you something. Chase bullied the shit out of me. He was bullying me. He was beating me up, and he learned it from Stephen Aiken.
He's throwing everybody under the bus.
Yeah, throwing everybody under the bus today. Getting us out here. Getting us like we snitching today. We some snitches. Nah, let me tell you what happened. So we're in a cage. I'm getting ready for, it's like the 3rd time I weighed in and didn't get to fight. I was supposed to fight. So I'm getting ready for a fight. And we're in Tifton down there with at Walter Pee-wee. Everybody calls him Pee-wee McCow. We was at his cage in Tifton, Georgia. And Chase was getting me ready. So it was conditioning, but we were sparring in a cage. And it was MMA rounds, live MMA rounds. And it was like my 7th round. And we were doing 5-minute rounds. And I was tired. They done put work. And Chase was like touching the ground and going, boom, and just throwing these big, loopy punches on me. He was just touching the ground and coming around like, boom. And he was knocking the shit out of me. But it was telegraphed enough that I could respond to it so I wasn't getting hurt. But he was knocking me around, and I was exhausted. And he's like, coming down, and he's like, boom. And I went to throw inside. I used to do this little thing where I would throw inside kick, outside kick. I would kick your leg so it would make you step. It would shift your leg forward and plant all your weight on it. And then I would chop your leg. And I used to do that a lot. So I was trying to do that to Chase. So I went to throw that inside kick hard. And Chase had dipped his head down to throw that loopy punch. He was being silly, but he was just conditioning me and getting me to like respond because I was gassed. Like I was dead. And dude, I kicked Chase Rowden in the face. All shin, hard. And it wasn't even that I threw the kick hard. He slammed his face like just bam right into my shin because he was throwing an overhand hard as shit. Like he was throwing these punches hard, y'all. But it was telegraphed so that I could. It was designed to help me training. But he was dipping his head so low that when I threw that inside kick, I kicked him across the face.
Oh wow,
guys! When I tell you, my gloves come off like Wolverine. Like I threw them like this, like off, and I hugged him. Like
Don't hurt me.
I was like, ah! And I hugged him, and I was like, I'm sorry. And he said, damn, that was a good left hook. It's like, that was a kick, homie. Like, I kicked him in the face. I kicked you. He was like, oh, shit, I thought it was a punch. I didn't know what you hit me with. And then he was like, where are your gloves? We got to finish this round. And, like, dude, he finished the round all right. Slammed me in a corner, like, pummeled me in a corner for kicking him. But, like, when he tells the story, he's going to tell the story because he's going to defend himself, I'm sure. But he was like, dude, that's the hardest I've ever been hit my whole life. And I was like, I didn't hit you. Like, I threw this little wimpy inside kick, and you slammed your face into my shin. Like, you hit your face. You hit my shin with your face.
you took my shin and you hit it with your face.
Yeah. But, dude, I was terrified. I thought, like, he was going to be mad at me because I just kicked him in the face. And he was cool about it. Like, he was like, his training happened. He actually sat down. He went for another round with me later, beat the shit out of me again. And we went home. And he called me Monday. I was like, dude, I can't eat anything. Like, he was like, that shit hurt. And he's like, he told me like his face was hurt for like 2 weeks or something. But, dude, like, I kicked that man in the face hard.
And he was like, we got to finish the round.
Yeah,
And he was
we gotta
like,
keep going.
Like, it would have knocked, I think it would have knocked a normal person out. Because it was hard, dude. And I could tell it, like, he was blinking. My gloves come off. And I went to hugging him. I'm like, I'm sorry. Please don't murder me. And it was a complete accident. Like, I didn't mean to kick him in the face. I was trying to kick him in his leg. And he slammed his face into it. Just so y'all know, it was an accident. I'm not bragging. Like, I wasn't planned. But, dude, that dude's an intimidating monster. Like,
Yeah, so I always heard him talking about triangle heel hook Kimuran people.
at the same time, guys. At the same time.
I thought it was a joke. I thought he was joking and he was like making it funny. And then one day
Making it funny.
one day I'm rolling with him and I feel him setting up a triangle armbar, and he has this funny way of getting you a submission where it's like,
You know,
it's like, all right, I know I'm about to get triangled and Kimuran at the same time, but for some reason I can't stop it from happening.
yeah.
Well, then I notice his legs going around my leg and my heel going up like I'm getting heel hooked, and I'm like, I thought this was a joke. I didn't think this was something you could actually do to me or to a person. Like, what the fuck just happened? And like I'd been grappling for a couple of years at that point. I thought I'd never seen anything like this before in my life. Like,
So this is a real submission.
I always thought he was joking. I'd heard him say that, and every time he talked about triangle heel hook Kimuran in somebody, it was in a joking tone. You know what I mean? So I was just like, okay, that's just, that's not real. That's a unicorn. That's, we talk about it, but it never actually happens.
And you take somebody that's almost on a blue belt level and then triangle, Kimura, heel hook them. You just did something.
It's like, I have to reevaluate my entire life right now.
Chase is so funny, man. I love that dude.
I'm just gonna go sit in a corner by myself and just leave me alone. I got to process some things.
Oh,
Well, I never feel too bad getting beat up by Chase. If I land up kick, I'm like, yes.
yeah. Chase is one of those guys. Like when you see him out in the real world, you would be like, this is the biggest punk.
Yeah,
I have ever.
You catch him out in the real world, and he's wearing like dad New Balances and a Star Wars shirt. You know what I mean? You don't understand it. Like that dude's a fucking killer there. Like
at work, he's got pins and shit in his top pocket and glasses.
Does he have pocket protector?
Yeah, like I'm not making this up. Like he wears pins and shit, and like he's like, hi guys, like, oh, and then he talks to people at customer service and he's like, oh, what happened? Oh, yes, sir, we'll get right to that. I'm sorry, sir.
He probably gets cursed out by people over the phone
and he's like, oh, I wish,
just like, if only you knew.
Yeah, but
I've already killed you 100 different ways.
But he don't even think that. He's like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you. Yeah. I'll handle that for you. And then like people come into his office and they're yelling at this dude like, you messed up my damn payment. And he's like, well, hold on a second, sir. Let me pull it up on the computer and see what's the problem. Yeah. And I'm hearing about this, and I'm hearing other people in the office the way they talk and do, and I'm like, the moment this man puts on a pair of spats and a rash guard, he transforms into this intimidating man beast, and you're like, I watched.
He's the nicest guy though. He's not.
Yeah.
He's only intimidating once you understand what he can do to you.
Let me tell you what this man did to Zach. Zach and him was sparring in the cage downstairs, and we was like, ding, bell goes off. Chase threw a flying knee from the other end of the cage to Zach and stopped it on his chest. And then he turned around. He pushed Zach back. He's like, I could have done this to you. Turned around and jumped back the other way and hit the wall pad of the cage. And it went, and like he would have killed Zach. And he's just standing there and he's like, let's go. And he's like,
that's a good way to intimidate someone.
Zach is friggin' terrified of Chase. He says, he's like, yes, sir.
I was about to say, was it that voice like, Jimmy?
Yeah. He's like, I want out now. And so we just spent like 20 minutes bashing on Chase.
Just for the record, Chase, I didn't.
I've only talked Chase up. I love your Star Wars shirts.
Your pocket protectors, bro. Your pocket protector's awesome.
I know the customer service voice. I work in the office too.
Dude.
Oh, yeah, but I was going to say, I guess, like, for me, the more I learn and the better I've gotten in jiu-jitsu, it's like the less likely I probably am to get upset at something somebody says to me and end up fighting them. And so I guess for Chase, him being a professional fighter and all that, like, he knows. He doesn't give a shit what you have to say to him. He knows what he can do to you. And so it doesn't get to him, whereas, like, I'm still at a level where I'm, like, still kind of finding myself in jiu-jitsu, and it's like I still feel like I need to, like, prove to myself that it would really work when I would need it to. You know what I mean? Whereas Chase is like, he knows. Like,
it's already proven.
His shit's solidified. Like,
yeah, see, I'm more like, I'm with you where I'm at. Yeah. And
I'm more like y'all too.
That's a lot. Well. That's a lot. But I like, I don't set out to get hurt. But when accidents happen doing a contact sport and training, black eye, the one time I hurt my thumb, had a cast, I like when I go to work and I get questions like, yeah, this is how it happened. Yeah. Like the word has started trickling up, like some of the upper management, like, what you doing now? I'm like, I ain't got nothing now, no injuries.
I'm just training jiu-jitsu.
Just doing jiu-jitsu. But there's a meme, I love it, like when you have to tell your coworkers, it's okay. I'm okay at home. I just train jiu-jitsu.
Nobody's abusing me.
No one's abusing me. I just train jiu-jitsu.
And sometimes, like, you tell people, I'll tell people, like, yeah, I train a little MMA. and they think that means that like I'm a cage fighter and I'm out pursuing.
You do
fights. So
UFC?
it's like
That's
oh,
what it
God,
is.
I hate that. I hate when people say, "Oh, you do UFC, bro," or like somebody will tell you like, "Oh yeah, I train UFC." It's like. So if you walk up and say that alone, I know immediately like you've never trained a day in your life.
Right.
Like, if you walk up and tell me you do UFC, you've never even seen the inside of a gym.
The video game?
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like the equivalent of like a high school football player being like, "Oh, I got to go to NFL practice after school." Like, shut up, stupid. Like,
I'm going to NFL right now. What?
Yeah.
You never hear
I
that.
feel like I was going somewhere before that.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Yeah.
It's gone.
NFL practice.
Yeah. NFL practice, bro.
But yeah, you never trained a day.
Oh, yeah. What I was trying to say is like when you tell people like, "Oh, I do jiu-jitsu or I do MMA," they have a hard time understanding that like I just do this because I enjoy it, because I love all things martial arts. I'm just a connoisseur of martial arts. And you tell people you train MMA and they're like, "Oh yeah, you a cage fighter, bro?" It's like, no, I've never fought in a cage a day in my life. I just like training MMA. Like,
Well, we're all like right there close in age, so we grew up on the Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers. You know,
Yeah,
just like the martial arts. You know,
I agree.
yeah. And like I watch all combat sports. Like, I mean, I watch collegiate and Olympic wrestling, which I didn't start watching that until I started training jiu-jitsu. I watch all the different jiu-jitsu promotions, MMA, more than just the UFC. I like one a lot, and Bellator, and then I watch kickboxing and lethwei, like we were talking about earlier, like traditional boxing. I love it all. Like, I love combat sports.
I think we talked about this the last podcast. That what do you wish would change in this sport? And what I said was just more understanding. People understand what it is. Because like when I tell my coworkers, I got one coworker in particular. I'm not throwing him under the bus, but he goes, "You still do that jiu-jitsu?" And he did, like I don't even know if that's karate. Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, what?
You know, my grandma asked me like a year ago. She's like, "Are you still doing that karate stuff?" And I'm like, "No, I do jiu-jitsu now." And I'm like, "How do I explain this to her?" I was like, "It's kind of like wrestling, but like collegiate wrestling, not like WWE wrestling, but you can choke each other." She's just kind of like, I'm just like, I still do karate.
I got a friend that he doesn't know how to.
I'm not.
That's great.
You just go with it sometimes.
Yeah,
I got one of my best friends. Like, he doesn't say jiu-jitsu. Like, I don't know what it is, but he just says the juju. Yeah, I still do juju. I do juju.
I do juju.
Didn't you have a cousin that called
My
it
cousin
jujus?
still calls it
He's
juju.
What did he do? Wushu or Wing Chun?
Wing Chun. Yeah, and he still talks about how Wing Chun is. He still talks about how Wing Chun is superior in every way.
Introduce him to my ninja.
Oh, he's coming to Eastman. Like this year, he said he's coming. When he comes, I'm gonna introduce him to Juju.
To Juju.
Also, guess what I did, Bam Bam?
What? You didn't record anything.
No, I recorded it all. But I got this working.
Nice.
Got my camera back. What you think, guys? Got that camera. Got this camera. I'm proud of my podcast setup, by the way. What do you think?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Dude, I spent a lot of time up here, and I didn't get everything all at once. There was no way I could have done that. But I slowly said I was gonna do it and did it. Like,
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I really, really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I remember we were talking about it so long ago. I remember me and you were looking at equipment and stuff.
I'm starting a Struggle Buddy series.
Struggle Buddy.
Struggle Buddies. I'm starting that series. I already built the page. I built it today. I haven't shared it. I hadn't even published it, but I have it, so no one can steal the name. But it's Struggle Buddies. That's gonna be the thing, and we're gonna make fun of
Funny videos.
We're gonna make little skits and funny stuff about jiu-jitsu.
We need to go back and write some of them down. I know we talked about, we had like 4 or 5 good ones.
Oh, we got some good ones. You want to be a part of that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah, because Struggle Buddies is gonna be great. And then what was the other thing we was talking about? Struggle Buddies, and then Oh, grappling. I already said it.
Grappling.
Yeah, we had Mind Ninja. We had a guy that come in here and said he trained his mind for 3 months for 12 hours a day.
Oh, I think I remember.
And he done it for 12 hours a day. Didn't eat, didn't do anything. 12 hours a day. He trained his mind, so he's basically a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He wanted to come show us.
Yeah, he told you that like one day of his mind training is like 10 years of doing Jiu-Jitsu or something. Didn't he say some crazy shit
That's
like
basically
that?
what he said.
I don't know if he said 10 years, but
yeah, he was like one day. I did it for 3 months before I come in here.
Yeah,
so I could, and then he punched our punching bag, and it fell. Like the punching bag fell off the chain. And you couldn't tell that dude nothing. Yeah. But I didn't have the heart to tell him like 3 bags had failed the week before because the swivels that I had bought, they were on the
spinning their way off.
Well, they were bought for they were on the rack that said 350, but the ones that I had got were only rated for 50 pounds, and they had been hanging for like a month. But they stretched out and broke, and I had to replace them with the right ones as they broke. Yeah. And he hit that bag like this. It was, and the bag fell. Yeah. He took a picture, posted on Instagram. He's like, I knocked the bag off the hook. This is the power of my mind.
I remember we stalked his Instagram one day over here, and he had all kind of like
his punching videos, and I tried to make that guy remember. Yeah. Like if he took half.
He was just too good, man.
No, dude, I'm telling you, if he took half the focus and half the stuff that he does and actually applied it to real legit training, that dude would be a badass.
Because he trains with like bow staff and all kind of crap like that, right?
But he don't. I seen him in the gym. We go to the gym with him all the time. He'll like lift a chair up and like lay on his back and then stand up with a chair. And then he'll have a weight in his other hand, in his left hand, and I'm like, why are you doing that? And his response was, well, I'm stronger with my right hand, so now I'm working on my control with my right hand. And my grip, and making my left arm just as strong as my right arm.
But now, my question was, now your grip and control is going to be better in your right hand.
Yeah, I don't know.
It didn't make sense.
It did.
But he'll spend like 15 minutes mimicking a movement before he touches the weight. He's in there like 3 hours.
Yeah, that's
and sometimes we spend an hour lifting weights past us actually needing to lift weights. We were still working out just because this dude motivated us to stay another hour.
Like what's he gonna do next? Let's go to this over here. Now we can see.
But we lift weights because, hey, he's motivated us to make us stronger. So
let's run a couple miles on a treadmill, and we can watch the whole gym.
You know, there was one kid that came in here a while back. I can't even remember his name, but I wouldn't want to say his name anyway. I feel like you knew him outside of here, besides him coming to train, but he like fancied himself a street fighter. You know what I mean? He was a badass, and you couldn't tell him otherwise. And then, like, we were training, like, it was like a defense to a guard pass we were training. And, you know, from the position we were training at, you start by putting your hands on their hips. And I just remember him being, like, very, like, eye-rolling, and he stops and asks me, he's like, why would I put my hands on your hips in the first place? And then, like, I had to, like, try to explain to him, like, if I've got you in my guard, I want to keep you in my guard, you have to put your hands on my hips and post out to get past my guard. What we're drilling right now is for me to stop you from doing that. And it was just like he was just very like not open to it, you know what I mean? And then it came time to roll afterwards, and like I was in a gi and he wasn't in a gi, but then he was like grabbing on and holding on to my gi, and I had nothing to hold on to him. And he was pretty fast and real squirmy, so I couldn't get control of him like I wanted to do, and could never really like I was still pretty new at the time.
Team no gi.
Yeah,
Planet Baby.
Yeah, I was pretty new at the time, so I couldn't get like that control I needed to like get him still and to to show him how effective it was. And he ended up not coming back because I think that he thought he was too tough for us. But yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that other than just like there's just some people that it just won't click with him. Because he did rounds with TJ too, and I'm sure TJ smashed him. You know what I mean?
I ain't never met anybody that TJ could smash that he wouldn't.
Oh God, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
man,
if he
it's
could, he
like-
would, but not in a bad way. He protected
Yeah.
people.
Yeah,
He protected people, but he would
Yeah,
let
like-
your ass know like I'm
like if
better than you.
Yeah, like if he was putting you in an armbar or anything like that, it was very controlled. You know what I mean? But like he was gonna put that top pressure on you. You know
he's
what I
gonna-
mean?
he's
He was
gonna win.
Yeah, he was going.
He's gonna win training, bro.
And he was gonna let you feel it. But he never hurt me. Never even came close to
Nah.
hurting me. But like
He was my main training partner for years. I miss getting in rounds with TJ.
to be
bro.
honest, the way TJ used to smash me is like what kept me coming through the door. I was like, I can't let this shit happen no more. You know what I mean? And then eventually I learned how I had to roll with TJ was to just keep creating scrambles. Like if he put me on my butt or started to get on top of me at all, I was just going to shrimp out and try to technical stand up and like get back to a scramble. That would be the only way I could survive against TJ is to keep it moving and not.
Yeah, you can't let him stick you to the mat.
Yeah, once he stuck me to the mat, it was done. Like best I could do then is like lock down on half guard and survive until he gets past that. You know what I mean? But it was just like an inevitable. Like he was gonna pass the side control. Once he passed the side control, he was gonna do what he wanted, pretty much. But
Yeah, I wish I could remember that kid that you was talking about, because I probably have a story or two about him.
I can almost remember his name. I don't want to say it. I don't want to call him one out. But I think I remember his name.
Yeah, you have to tell me after the podcast.
Yeah.
But my favorite story inside the gym, I have two. And so since my gym's been open, I have only there have only been like 3 people that you messaging me?
I was just going.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he was too tough for us, man.
Yeah, he was too tough. He was too tough.
He's a street fighter.
That was his name. I remember exactly who you're talking about. Good kid, but he did have a little bit of a yeah. But he's a good kid.
Before I got here.
Yes, way before you got here. Wish that kid would have stayed. That kid would have.
He could have been
That
good.
kid would have been.
He was a scrappy little motherfucker. He really was.
Yeah,
Like,
he'd have been a monster if he stayed.
Yeah.
For real.
He was
You don't
real
know him
fast.
at all.
Yeah.
You don't know him at all.
That's fine.
But-
So you've had to train more than 3 years because I'm getting close to 3 years myself now.
I don't know. It's just so off
He's
and on. as fuck.
he's
Yeah.
counting. He's counting time he actually trained, because he's been here. I've met him 5 years ago, 4.5.
Has it been that long?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I opened my school 6 years ago.
And to the public, 5 or 4?
5 to the public 5.
I got
Like,
out 5 years ago, and it was that same year. I came
Yeah,
to
because
train,
you
so
come in
like-
here with 2 people,
Yeah.
so it's been almost 5 years, or 4.5.
Wow, man. Imagine where I'd be if I stayed consistent.
Yeah, because you, so 4.5 maybe 4. It's been at least 4, because Bambam's been here almost 3. Corey's been here.
He came right
3?
after me.
He's been here almost 3,
August was me.
and he was January.
I was about to say January, February.
Yeah,
that
he was
next year.
January, so he'll be 3 in January. So he's 2.5 for Corey.
Yeah.
And you was here way before all that.
Oh, yeah.
You were one of the original OGs
Yeah.
back when Justin Dayhoff and Cravey and Nico,
I was
Yeah.
about to
Dude,
say
that was
Nico
my-
and
Matt, Jason.
What's Nico doing now?
He trains at Rush in Macon. He goes to college there, but I think he went to America Top Team Gwinnett in Atlanta. Because
he's going to school.
he's going to school in Atlanta now. So he went to Macon because he was school there. Then, but whatever.
Did you ever realize how smart Nico actually is?
Dude,
He's going to school for like astrophysics.
yeah, dude's a genius.
Yeah.
And it's hit my favorite Nico moment of all
Just
time.
tap.
I'm sure I know what story about it. I feel like
Not when he put our buddy to sleep. He put somebody to sleep, and he was like, they were asleep, and he was telling them, Just tap.
Yeah, I was there.
Just tap. Just tap.
Just tap. They let him
Like,
go.
dude, he's asleep. How's he supposed to tap? You just let him go.
No, dude started snoring. After Nico was like, "Are you?" He said something to him like, "Just tap."
Like
or
he
something like
was
that.
still
And then
moving.
dude-
He was asleep, but he was like,
He was
Yeah,
having
no.
a seizure.
Yeah.
Guy ends up letting out like a, and Nico's like, "Uh-oh." Like,
Guy went into a seizure.
Jimmy made me do that once.
Yeah, I don't know what
Remember
you're
that?
talking
You
about.
remember that guy got up and was like he didn't know what had happened. Like
You're talking about you're talking about
that's
the
a
guy I
different
put
time?
to sleep.
Madagascar.
You're talking about Madagascar. Anthony.
No, that was before. I think that was right before me, or maybe I
See,
just
folks,
started coming.
train
I remember-
jiu-jitsu, you'll have a lot of great stories like this.
I remember that story. I remember that story because he said he was hearing.
That
Madagascar
Afro
song.
circus, Afro
Yeah,
circus.
yeah, no. I remember it was Nico choked this kid out, and
Nico.
he like the kid he got back up and he was all confused and dazed and he goes to get some water.
You're talking
and he
about
comes
Seth.
back. I don't know. He comes back.
Oh.
He comes back. It was a black. It was a black kid.
No.
The kid Nico choked out was definitely a black kid. He ends up getting up. He's real confused. He goes and gets some water and he comes back to the mats and he was like, I can't remember what he said, but essentially he didn't remember that we had even started rolling. Like he got back over there like
I don't remember
He got
this.
back over there like you got a partner? It was like you need to take a minute, bro.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
Nico put this other kid to sleep. You wasn't here. Kid went to a seizure. Like he was seasoned.
Yeah,
And-
that was the same one.
Was it?
The kid I'm talking about definitely seized for a second. We're
No.
all,
This
freaking out.
one.
So Nico choked out 2 people?
Nico showed out a lot of people.
God, Nico.
Because he's like, he gets it. They'll go to sleep in 5 seconds because
Yeah.
it's tight.
Yeah.
And he don't realize that when Nico's on the mat, not now,
Yeah.
but I learned after this one time, like if Nico's on the mat, the roamer, the person that's not rolling, would watch his matches so you can say like, hey, he's out. Because he almost killed this kid. Like,
So he never put me to sleep, but he did headbutt me. I had a goose egg. When Nico
I remember
got
that
me.
too. He carried around a knot, boy.
Yeah, the headbutt. That's why they're illegal.
Nico put his kid to sleep. Kid's seasoned. And he's like, and Nico's choking him, and he's like, just tap.
Yeah.
Just tap, bro. Yeah, I got you. Just tap. You're done. Just tap. And Mr. Mail was like, oh, let him go.
Yeah.
Put him on the side. Kid seized like bad for like 2 minutes. Like a long time. It seemed like forever. And then it's the longest seizure I've ever seen in my entire life. I've seen seizures. I've seen people go through seizures. And the kid gets up and he tries to walk. And he's so exhausted from having a seizure that he can barely walk. And he's like, I'm going to drive home. I'm like, no, you're not.
Okay. Yeah, the kid I'm thinking of, like his mom came and got him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it had to be 2 different. That's wild.
So you were about to go somewhere. You said you remember you've been open so long. You remember 3 times.
So, I'm talking about people that were arrogant that tried to hurt me.
Epsom salt's one.
Epsom salt was one. And then there was the guillotine guy.
Man, we have so many nicknames.
I know him, actually.
The guillotine guy?
I know that guy. I knew him before he came here.
Was you here that day?
No, but I was here like the next day and you told me about it. And Matt knew the guy outside of here. So he was able to tell me like, hey, it was so-and-so. And I was like, oh, I know that guy.
I'll talk to you after we get done the podcast. I put 2 and 2 together, and that kid, because he's passed away now, right?
Yes.
I think I'm actually related to him.
Oh, cool.
think
The
he-
one that
thanks,
put
my
you in, the one
cousin.
that put you in the guillotine?
No. He's
okay.
talking about the kid the Madagascar kid.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes, that
You
one.
remember that?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he set up and he just looked at me with the meanest, like,
Yeah, I don't know.
he was just like mean mugging me. Right when he woke up, he was like that.
Yeah.
And then he went, and it was like a wave hit him. He said, I was just in Madagascar.
Yeah.
He's like, and he pointed at Corey. He was like, you were the zebra. And you were singing, da, 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 Afro Circus.
Yeah.
But he,
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I just put 2 and 2 together, and I think he's my third cousin.
I gotcha. Good kid. He was supposed to go to the Marines. He got caught up in some stuff, but
I was about to, we'll talk after.
yeah, he got caught up in some stuff, but good kid.
I'm not close to that family. I just the names. Like I think his grandmother and my grandmother were sisters.
Even the stuff he got caught up in, it was so crazy at how it went down and what people were saying and what actually happened. Like, good kid.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The guillotine guy.
I almost killed that guy.
Yeah, no. I almost wish I would have been here. I feel like me knowing him, I could have like settled the whole situation. But I know him, and he was one that like he's been in a lot of street fights. He's a scrappy guy. He's actually gotten his ass kicked a lot, but he still believes he's a real scrappy guy.
Is this the one that your cousin brought in and said he got tapped 3 times?
Yes.
Okay.
But but see, he was in the Marine Corps.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, see. I don't know full details, but I know he got kicked out, and I think basically what happened was like he just went on leave one time and didn't go back.
AWOL.
Yeah, went AWOL. But,
Damn.
Yeah.
So he was in jail with my cousin, right? Mm-hmm. My cousin grew up exactly like I did. Mm-hmm. I mean, like our dads would take us to the circle. So it's not even a circle. That was a liquor store, and like pit us against other people for money. Like, you can't knock my son down in this many seconds, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And, like, whatever money we'd have left at the end of the day, they would buy their beer and their liquor, because one of them drank liquor, one of them drank beer. Mm-hmm. They would buy it for that day, and then they would buy enough for the next day and give us whatever money was left. Mm. And that's what they used to do with us. So he grew up exactly like we did, like I did. Mm-hmm. But he went the other way. He went the drugs and alcohol way, and I went like business, success, like focus. We just went different ways. But my cousin is probably one of the most intelligent human beings that I've ever been around. But he just talks and gets himself in trouble. And then he fights because he hasn't learned that lesson yet. Like that the way we grew up isn't normal. It's not okay. And like I learned it. Like I don't need to be out here fighting people in the world. Like, and I have that martial arts gave me that focus. He never really got that. But when he got out of jail, he says, I want to get after it. I really want to train. I want to get a new focus. I want to do this. And I was like, okay, come on. And he said, I want to be around good people that don't have that influence or bring me back down.
Give me that temptation.
Yeah. So I was like, come on. Well, he brought that guy with him, guillotine guy.
Gotcha.
That's what we're calling him, guillotine guy. And I taught my guillotine, and I taught traditional guillotine, then I taught my guillotine. And traditional guillotine, we're doing it, and Bug was like, hey, he's got a great guillotine. You need to feel it. So, okay. Dude grabbed a guillotine on me, and it was tight. And we were standing. I tap. He don't let me go. He jumps guard and like pulls me down. And I'm like, what the? And in my mind, I'm still calm. But now I'm starting to panic a little bit because he ignored my first tap. And he's choking me. And I'm starting to see spots and stuff. I tap again. So this is the second time I tap. Now I'm about to go out. And he hasn't let me go. So in my mind, he's trying to kill me. I take my hand and I'm like, boom, and I just drop elbow the side of his head, and I'm like, boom, and I start fighting my way out of this guillotine. And I'm fighting my way out, like I'm hammering down, and I'm like moving, and then he lets, like I get out, and I'm like, what the? And I'm screaming at him. I'm like, when somebody taps, you let him go. And like, I part of me was wanting to still beat him up. But when I screamed, I had like 15 people on the mat. And everybody just stopped what they're doing and looked. And like, I realized like I'm setting an example. And like, I was out and everything was cool. But I'm like, when somebody taps, you let it go. That dude looked like a ghost, like a ghost. He just saw a ghost. He says, I was told you had to tap 3 times.
Your cousin's fault.
I'm like, who the fuck told you to tap? Like, dude, when I touch you once, you let me go.
Huh.
And so now I make it a point when somebody's new, I'm like, dude, if we pat you anywhere, you let them go and create distance.
And if you can't, you say
See,
it.
I never heard that last part about. I heard you had to tap 3 times. I thought he was just in here being a dick. Cause
No.
you told me that he was like eyeing you up and stuff like that. Like
Yeah, he
sizing
was.
You up, you know
He
what I mean?
was.
Yeah.
But he.
And like when y'all told me this, and like Matt told me who it was, it's like it didn't surprise me at all. Him coming in like sizing you up, you know what I mean? Like it sounds like something
And
he would have done.
but that's why my mind went there, because he had already gave me those vibes.
Gave me that posture and everything.
Yeah, and like I was like, oh man, this guy's gonna suck to train to. It's gonna suck for the beginning until we get him trained to the point that he's a good contributing team member. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, but when that happened, his demeanor and everything changed. He was like, I was told you had to tap 3 times. Like, dude, I felt so bad because
I wonder if he thought that meant like 1, 2, 3, or if it's like there's 1 tap, there's the next one.
So he explained it to me after I calmed down, and like, cause my thought process, like I don't go around doing that to people. I've been here 6 years. It's happened, like this type of thing has happened 3 times, and every time was the other guy like being this big macho douchebag. And people come in here nice, they get treated nice, like, and they get treated overly nice. We'll actually hurt ourselves before we hurt them. Yeah. But there's been 3 times instances like this that this happened, and like I can go to that level. I'm a freaking fighter. Like I could go to that level. I just don't. Yeah. But so I asked him. I'm like, what? Why would you think that? Like what? It's like, and Bug and him was like, well, when we was in jail, we were grappling in our cells, and people would tap, and we would let them go, and I ain't tap. So they come up with the rule that you had to tap 3 times so you knew that it was a tap. Because people's ego was like, I ain't tap. Yeah. And that's how they had been in jail grappling together for like 6 months. And he didn't know that rule don't apply in our jiu-jitsu gym. And he didn't let me go. And I felt the lights going out, and like I panicked. And in my mind, he was trying to kill me. Like I was already, like I was fading, bro. Like I was fixing to go out. And that shit was deep. And my mind, I said, I got to get out of here. He's trying to kill me.
Imagine if he'd have done that to like Bubby instead of you.
Dude, Bubby would be like still facing court on charges for murder. And in Bubby's defense, Bubby'd been like, he was trying to kill me and he signed a waiver. Like I killed him because he signed a waiver and he tried to kill me. Like Bubby wouldn't give a fuck.
So
I have a video.
I just want to clear this up. Obviously, Bubby fought professionally. He never actually fought in the UFC, right?
No.
Okay.
This guy right?
Yeah, he got offers.
Oh, really? Okay. This guy that I was working out of town with, he's from a different company as me. We were subcontracted under him. He's from Macon, and he said he knew Bubby. And he said, like, Bubby fought in the UFC. And I was like, I don't think Bubby ever fought in the UFC. And he, like, made all crazy eyes at me. And I was like, I specified, I was like, he definitely fought professionally. But I don't think he fought for the organization.
Bubby actually fought for an organization that the UFC bought out, I believe. I mean, don't hold me to that, because that could be completely false information. I'm spreading false information.
Yeah, and
I do know for a fact that he was offered later, since he's been into the new gym, and Bubby has told him he can pay him enough money.
I got you. Yeah.
Because he was like, if y'all want to pay me what I'm making now, there's like put my life and my body on the line to go do that, like I would do it. But I don't think you guys want to pay me pay me that type of money.
Like what I'm making.
Yeah.
Just coaching. Yeah. Like Bubby was very verbal about fighters making shit money. Like he's been very verbal about it. He's like, you got managers.
Oh, shit.
His knee on the table. But Bubby's and this is just personal talks. I'll let Bubby talk on Bubby's part, because like I haven't even been around Bubby in a while, man. Like I've seen him. I've shot him a few messages during COVID and stuff. But like, Bobby basically said, you get $14,000 for a fight. You got 8-week training camp. You got managers you got to pay. He's the one that really put me up on game when it come to fighting in the UFC. And actually, my mind shift, like I've always wanted to be a coach, but I wanted to fight so that people would respect me as a coach.
They would know who you are.
Yeah. That's the only reason I ever wanted to fight.
Right. And he's kind of like, he's already there. Like, people know who he is.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need that recognition.
No, and back then he didn't have that though, but he's put together some really, really freaking great fighters, man. But when Bobby's helped UFC fighters, he's trained with them, and they're like he's messing up my fighter's confidence. Send him home. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't need him here. He's breaking their confidence. Like, we need our fighter to be confident. Bobby's the man. Bobby's really good, dude. Yeah. And but Bobby was like, they want to pay you $14,000. By the time you pay managers, by the time you pay to bring in actual good fighters to push you to that level, by the time you do all this, like you make $2,500. It's like for 2-3 months worth of training, like every 3 months you get a $14,000 check. He's like, dude, I'm making that in
a lifetime of brain injury.
Yeah, where they were making real big money was like their sponsorship deals, but now they can't even.
Now you can't even do that.
I know.
I hate the whole.
I don't think y'all understand how much that fucking hurt right there. Like, I didn't just hit the table, I hit the corner of it. I think I cut my knee open.
That's great. But anyway, yeah, dude, I love that guy, and like, he's influenced my game a lot, because before him, my coaches were mostly bigger guys. Cam was the next closest guy to him, but Cam was short and stocky, and he's like 170, 180 pounds.
I feel like Cam would hurt somebody too for not letting go of a choke.
Bro, let me tell you, I got a video, and I don't know if Bobby's. I hope Bobby never watches this podcast. Don't kill me, Bobby. I love you.
You're probably gonna send it straight to him after this.
I know what video you're talking about. That's what made me say that.
Yeah. One of his students didn't let go. Now, I have the video. One of his students didn't let go when the timer went off.
Yeah, like kept going.
Like, he stood up, like he quit, and the guys like tried to finish a choke. Bobby hit a fucking front flip and spiked him, and then like fucking kicked him in his face. Pow! Like soccer kicked him.
He hit him a couple times and then stood up, and he actually, luckily for the guy, he missed the soccer kick.
Yeah, well, he hit him. It grazed him. It was like,
I thought it went right behind.
No, it done this. It was like smack, like it.
But that guy,
enough, you got kicked. You knew it.
Oh, but they're family. But he wouldn't do that.
It put the fear of God in him. He was like, Bobby.
Yeah, I got the video. Yeah. And but they're like family. You're like, when you're in here and you train, you know how close we are, especially when you do a fight camp. And that guy's done fight camps with Bobby. It's a different relationship, but I don't believe that Bobby would let anyone come in his gym, him coaching them put him in a fucking guillotine and not let him go, and him not like spike them on their and like kick their fucking head off their shoulders. I don't believe he would. I'm not speaking for Bobby, but I don't believe he would. And like I said, I don't hang out like that anymore or whatever, but I truly believe that I think Cam would murder. I almost bet money Cam would murder somebody. I bet money. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that if somebody come in Cam's school and did that, that motherfucker would have a real fight on their hand, and it wouldn't be like, oh, don't you ever do that again, like, or like he wouldn't even have known that that guy was supposed to tap 3 times. There would be no conversation. He'd have beat him up, drug him out the back door, and then shut it, and just left him out caveman style. I couldn't imagine somebody doing that to Chase Rowden either. I think it happened to the best person for it to happen to.
Yeah, and in the right situation for everybody to be watching for that.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. And luckily I've grown, and I think Bobby has too. I think all these guys. I think all these guys. The older you get, and the more the less competitive. Not competitive, but like you're not on that fighter style Like if you're trying to train, coach, and then train for fights, you're on a different level than you are when you're just training. I know that from experience. And Bubby done it on a higher level, at a way higher level of understanding than I could ever dream about doing. So, and that's what I'm saying. When you're in that type of situation, I really, I couldn't blame him. Couldn't blame him for what he did with the other guy. Yeah. Dude, it's your life.
Yeah.
Like you gotta have.
And there's no telling what kind of day he had that day that might have had him a little more likely to react that way. You know what I mean? Like
TJ Spires punched a hole in a hotel wall with boxing gloves on. Like I said that, and I got a shock. Look, when you're in training, and you get your adrenaline going, and you're like hitting pads, and you're like getting after it, and then someone says time, or there's time, and you still got that pumping energy and that pumping adrenaline, and you kind of stop, but the other person don't, you get right back after it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I called Tom. Dang, I got hiccups. I called Tom on TJ, and he was like, and he punched the wall. We spent 2 hours after that. We had to go to Walmart.
You puttied up the wall
and fix the wall.
Nice.
Like we fixed the wall. We had to buy paint to kind of match. Didn't get it to match exactly right, so we moved the mirror and just put up the screw holes with the mirror that was behind the door.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
As easily as I could go for another hour, I gotta get out.
I was about to say we've been gone for 2 hours.
Have we?
Holy wow.
About 2 hours, something like
Nah,
that.
man, that's good.
I can keep going easily, really. I got Olivia over here calling me.
Yeah. Let's get out of here, man. This was Andrew Jones, Bambam, Jimmy. Guys, I really enjoyed it. I think we could have went on and on and on with the stories, but I think the people out there got some good stories.
We can do a part 2.
I was about to say, you got this set up now. We can do this. We'll get back together.
Yeah, this is great. I really appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate you speaking on the military. Not to dog it or whatever, but to
and I wasn't trying to dog it. If anybody got that intention, I'm sorry. I should have chose better wording. I wasn't trying to dog it. I was just pointing out the difference in the training that you get in the military versus dedicated training to this sport.
Yeah, and that's what I was making clear. Is like, dude, he served, and like what we do here is such a small part of what they do as far as combat and stuff goes. Yeah. But there's a huge difference between what we do and what's done out there, and I think it should be known too. Yeah. I really think, and that's why I kind of wanted to have you on, is to let people know, man, there's such a different, and we have so many military guys that come in and get surprised. Yeah. And it's not me trying to brag on us or whatever. It's just there's a huge difference, and that's why I really wanted you on here, and I have fun, man, and getting a thing done. Guys, that was TECT Talk. And we're calling it a night. Y'all have a good night. Thank y'all for tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell. Peace.